Hello and welcome to the Dublin Arsenal preview show. I'm your host, Jonathan Giles. On the preview show tonight, I'm joined by regular guests Eamonn Donnelly to look ahead to another massive Premier League clash against Vitor Pereira's Wolves relegation threatened side at the Molineux Stadium, live on Premier Sports 1 on Saturday, January 25th at 3 p.m. And remember to check out our show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel. So sit back and enjoy the show. As I said, I'm joined by my regular preview guest at this stage, Arsenal season ticket holder and lifelong Gooner, Eamonn Donnelly. How are you, pal?
Evening, Jonathan. Oh, I saw a spider running across the floor there earlier on. I had a chat with him. He seemed like a nice fella. He was a web designer. We're all right. We're good. All good.
I don't know how you get it's 52 weeks of the year. New content is great. I know Nigel Gibbons loves them, who listens here, so there's another new one for your collection, Nigel.
It's just a way of keeping people awake, you know?
Yeah, to kick off the show, yeah. Keep me listening, yeah. So we do hope Eamonn's jokes are going down, man. Like, comment and subscribe to this show is also helpful. Catch our show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel and Spotify as always. Into our match preview for Saturday's upcoming fixture away to Wolves at the Molineux Stadium under new management, Vitor Pereira, who's come in for Gary O'Neill, who done really a cracking job. I think Eamon will agree, keeping them up last season and nearly getting them into Europe. He had a horror run his first 10 games where Arsenal, Chelsea, Newcastle, Villa, Liverpool, City. If that isn't an antidote to get fired, I don't know what is. But he came through that, but sadly losing the likes of Pedro Neto and Max Tillman in the summer, I think really they're always unfortunate. Wolves, they lose one or two big players each summer. But in your opinion, Eamon, how good of a job did Gary O'Neill do? He was just quite unfortunate, wasn't he?
I don't know. I say that because I'm wondering about Gary. He's certainly a very good football man, but I'm wondering about him. Is he a bit like Brendan Rodgers in some ways, that he's a very high impact when he comes to a job, and he might be very intense, and it kind of tails off. I'm not sure. I don't know. He strikes me as a really good football man. I hope he is around the game for a long time, but I'd have a concern because something similar happened at Bournemouth, you know.
You think the intensity, do you think, on the players, yeah? Yeah, because he likes getting them up the pitch, doesn't he? Like man for man.
Sometimes, sometimes players, when they're receptive to new ideas and all of that, and sometimes the message goes a bit. I don't know. I'm just looking at Gary, and he did something similar at Bournemouth,
Yeah, he did. And
I'm balanced that. By the way, I'm not sure Wolves are relegation threatened. I think they're in a relegation threatened position, but I think they'll be okay. I think they'll pull away. They're too good. I know they've won 4, drawn 4, and lost 14. But every time I watch them, they look good.
Yes, yeah. Especially under this new manager, Vitor Pereira, who was best known really for his time at FC Porto. They done really well in the Champions League phases. His record is
he's had some checkered managerial career.
Yeah,
he's been twice at Fenerbahce. He was off in the Middle East as well. I think he was in France too. He's been around the globe a bit, Yeah,
he's had some. He said it was a dream to come to the Premier League. It was the one country that he wanted to come to, and no better league to try yourself out. His record to date.
We might get Robbie Keane managing in the Premier League, will we? It's always been my dream to play for Liverpool and Spurs and Celtic and Villa and manage everybody.
And Maccabi Tel Aviv, don't forget. You had a lot of dreams as a kid, Eamon, and they all came true. So, geez, you had a checkered dream, that's for sure. At the moment, Gary O'Neill was fired, of course, after the 2-1 home defeat by Ipswich Town on December 14th. And since Pereira's appointment, his record to date is he's won 3, lost 2, drawn 1, scored 9 and conceded 9. And of course, they're in the next round of the FA Cup. And I say any Wolves fan that you'd probably speak to, they'd love a good cup run, wouldn't they? To forget about kind of the league position they're in. You've got good mates as well there, haven't you, as Wolves fans?
I've been over to Wolves a few times, and I've a very dear friend over there, Wolvo Paul, we call him. And it's a great trip to go on, Wolverhampton. I mean, it's not the prettiest of towns, it really isn't now, but it has a bit of character. I had Sparky John over with me, Johnny Gugu, and his observation when we went there last season was he never saw a town that so many people had a limp. Everybody was limping around. But it was amazing. Like,
here's an observation.
We had a great night. I said to me mate, Paul, when we were there at the end of last season, I said, Paul, I want you to take me to the greatest shithole in Wolverhampton for a 3-match thing. Right? And he said to me, well, there's really a choice in one or two. I've got a couple in mind. But he brought me to this place anyway, and it was shocking, like, you know. But we had a good night in Wolverhampton. That game's a Saturday evening game towards the back end of last season. We had a great night there. But when we were going back down to the train station the next day to get a train to Birmingham to fly home, there must have been some Indian celebration on, because there was a lot of there was these massive big balti pots on the street, and all offering us free food and all. It was brilliant. I have to say, it was a real carnival atmosphere. It was at 10:30 in the morning. I'm not sure it's time for the chili masala.
I don't know.
Probably getting over the kebab from the night before, you know. But
I don't know.
I'm very fond of Wolverhampton, and there's a great place there where a lot of Wolverhampton Wanderers fans, the hardcore, go before and after the game, and it's actually the Irish Centre. It's called the Emerald Club, and it's typical. Yeah, it's typical. You've got your dance hall, your bar, your lounge, and your community area, where a lot of Irish people would have gone in the 50s and 60s to get employment, to get jobs. Like, that is the mainstay of the hardcore Wolf support, the Emerald Club. So big shout out to the Emerald Club. You know?
Go on, the Emerald Club from the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club. And a few, just to briefly mention, a few Irish heads that did play for Wolves that I remember, only from my age. Dennis Irwin, Mark Kennedy, Robbie Keane, and our very own Matt Doherty at the moment. He was, I think this is his second stint now with them. So there's been a few Irish heads, hasn't there, down the years? And of course,
Matt Doherty, as a Bows fan, we're always very proud of our exports. Matt Doherty was one, but Stephen Ward played for quite a long time with Wolves as well, as did Kevin Hunt. You know.
Yeah, Kevin Hunt. Yeah, geez, that's going down now.
Stephen Hunt. Stephen Hunt. Yeah.
Stephen Hunt. Sorry, Stephen Hunt. And you would have remembered their prolific striker in Steve Bull. He was some striker, wasn't he, back in the day for Wolverhampton?
Well, I'll tell you the amazing thing about Steve Bull, right? When Wolves were in the old third tier, Steve Bull was an England international. Now that takes doing.
It does take doing. I didn't know that.
He was scoring about 40 goals a season, you know.
Yeah.
Wolves went through. Just maybe, without getting too detailed, I always reference teams that, you know, Wolves were a top tier team when I was growing up. You know, in the 1950s, they were considered to be the best team in Europe. But it was just before European competition. They always reckon if there had been a European Cup before 1955, Wolves would have won it. You know,
they were that good.
They were that good, right? And they won a couple of league titles around then. But in the 1970s, when I started watching football, in 1973, they actually played Tottenham in what's now the Europa League final, the UEFA Cup final, which was then played over 2 legs. And they always had a few League Cup wins and, you know, good FA Cup runs. And then in the 1980s, the arse fell out of it, and they ended up almost in oblivion, you know.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name. It was Jack Hayward, I think.
Jack Hayward, yeah, the owner. Yeah,
he took him over, and he started building them back up.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, I know Wolves are traditionally there, and it's a very small town. It really is.
Is it a small town? Yeah.
Small town, yeah.
It's a cracking stadium, though, isn't it? It looks really cracking from the outside. Yeah. I think so. I think if I'm correct, Eamonn, there's actually a statue outside of Steve Bull, is there? I think there's a plan. Yeah. So well deserved, of course.
The stand named after their prolific centre forward, the done before Steve Bull, and that was John Richards. Yeah, he was.
Another outstanding player.
It's actually quite. The seating is quite high. You know, it's a good stadium, a good place to watch football. You know. Yeah,
it's actually a good area where the away fans are at the side as well, isn't it? You've got a great view.
We were down here. We were down in the front row at the corner flag last year. Right across from the hardcore Wolves boys. There's a good bit of stick going on, you know. Yeah, good.
Yeah, it's actually a ground I haven't been to. Yeah, it's a game that actually sells out quite quickly as well, isn't it? A away fixture. Yeah. So that's definitely.
If anybody ever watched Peaky Blinders, which is Birmingham based, Wolverhampton is only 15 miles from Birmingham, which is, you know, kind of 20 minutes on a train. But the Peaky Blinders, Cillian Murphy, playing Thomas Shelby, he was talking about the Black Country Boys, which is West Bromwich and Wolverhampton, and he just said, you've got to keep away from those Black Country Boys. They're a bit mad, you know.
Yeah. It's nice. It's definitely one of my to-do list. And there's always cracking derbies between Villa, West Brom, and themselves. Yeah, it's a tight knit area, but cracking games, of course, in them. In terms of the match preview, I suppose Wolves League former presently lie 17th in the table. Played 21, won 4, drawn 4, lost 14 with 16 points at present. Their top scorer is a player that I really like, and probably is another one they may lose in the summer. You'd feel Matheus Cunha, with 10 goals, cracking player. Jurgen Strand Larsen, I think he's on loan from La Liga, 7 goals. He's really impressed me for a big lad. He impressed me actually on the opening day against ourselves. He had a great header that was well saved by David Raya. Ryan Aitnori has 3 goals. He's a really good fullback and gets up the pitch in terms of assisting. Gonzalo Guedes and Joe Gomez, 2 other good players with 2 goals. Wang Hee-chan with 2, Bellegarde has 1, and that was a cracker against, I think, Forest earlier on in the season. 3 clean sheets at present, and they've signed in the January transfer window to date centre back from Reims, Emmanuel Agbadou, who seems a bit of a player from what I've seen in League One. Eamonn, briefly, your take on their season so far. It's been their fixture list hasn't really helped them at the start of the season, as I said, playing all the top sides. But what have you made of their Matheus Cunha and Strand Larsen? You've been impressed, haven't you, with them too?
Oh, very impressed with them too. And there's another player I like in the middle of the pitch, Tommy Doyle.
The Man City lad.
Both his grandparents on both sides of the family played for Man City. Mike Doyle and Glenn Pardoe. He's from good stock, but he's a neat player. But Wolves are like as I say, every time I look at them, they look good.
Decent, yeah.
But they concede too many goals, Jonathan. They concede soft goals. I'd have a bit of a soft spot for them because of my buddy over there, and we keep in touch the whole time. So I look at quite a lot of them, but they leak goals something first, you know.
Yeah, they're very open, aren't they?
Yeah.
They play 3 at the back a lot, don't they, as well? You feel sorry for Doherty because they get caught out quite a bit when they're a high pressing team, yeah. They've been fortunate, like I said, with injuries, Eamonn. Boubacar Traore, Enzo Gonzalez, Cunha has a flu at the moment. Kalasic, who was a new signing, I think he got injured fairly early on last season, and he's just been unfortunate, I think, with injuries. Totti Gomez and Mosquera. He made a few meaty challenges on the opening day season, and probably unlucky not to be sent off. Made a few bad ones on Saka, but he's a bad ACL, I think.
Yeah.
And those type of players, when you've a squad kind of that small, it is down to Horsey, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it is. But I think they're certainly stronger than Ipswich, and they're certainly stronger than Southampton.
Yeah.
Who else makes up the bottom three? I've just drawn a blank there.
The teams that came
Leicester,
up.
they're stronger than Leicester. They're stronger than Leicester, you know.
And Southampton look on, don't they? At the
Leicester,
moment.
Southampton, and Ipswich to me look like the three that are going to go down.
It could be similar like last season. I think, if I'm right, the 3 that came up went down. Yeah, and that shows the competitiveness of this league.
Yeah.
In terms of injuries for ourselves coming into the match, Ben White, we all know, but he's not. I don't think he's too far away from coming back. Saka, we all know, is March. Then Weirdy, Jesus, obviously that's knee. It looks like the ACL. He's gone for the season. Calafiori, Saliba, hopefully won't be too long, and who knows on a Tomiyasu. So, in terms of our previous meeting, as I said, it was the opening day of the season. 2-0 at home. Havertz and Saka scored a beauty in the near post of Josie Sa. Were you at that match, Eamonn? The opening game? Yeah.
One of those games where we were always in control. They actually did something that they don't normally do. They played quite low.
Yeah, that's right.
Havertz got a beautiful header, but in the second half, they were pushing us around a bit, and then Saka comes up with Saka does what Saka does, cuts inside and just buries one, and that's put it to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How impressed actually briefly of their big striker, as I said, Jurgen Strand Larsen. He can do a bit of a damage, can't he? He's good with his feet and he's great in the air, isn't he?
Yeah, he can. He's a real honest centre forward. To my mind, he's every bit as good as the lad that plays at Manchester United, not Xerxes, the other fella, Hoyland, is it?
Hoyland,
yeah. But Quenya has been the standout player. Now he's 25 years of age. You'd wonder what was he doing at 21, 22, 23? Sometimes these guys, you just wonder.
He's been on loan a lot, Eamon. Do you think that kind of takes away from, that where their careers going as such?
Yeah.
But he is definitely one to watch. And of course, he's come from Norway, and he gets obviously a big teammate of our very own Martin Odegaard. Our previous meetings, just picked two out from last season. The game you were at, Trossard and Odegaard. You could say it was kind of a hard-fought game because Wolves put it to us, but you'd always felt that we does a bit too much for them. And in 22, Odegaard got two, so he's on a bit of a scoring streak against Wolves away. Do you think on Saturday evening, you'd feel, wouldn't you, that the quality will show in the end?
Well, okay, it depends. I think we will win the game if we don't get another number of injuries the morning of the game or the day before the game, and if we have enough energy. If we have enough energy, they'll have had 5 days. We'll have only had 3. But look, if we have enough energy, we'll win that game.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, there's enough quality there to see off Wolves, because the way they play under Pereira, they're quite attacking at the moment, so that could be the Achilles heel. But you never know when, will he change the side of play to a low block like O'Neill done on the opening day, which kind of surprised me with the way he played.
That was an away game,
Yeah, home is. Yeah, you're obviously don't be more optimistic. Yeah, your memories, Eamon, like either home or away, but particularly away with it being at Man U. Have you any memories that stuck out of this fixture of the Gunners playing Wolves?
Yeah, well, the banter with the crowd the last time, and actually Trossard's goal last year, the first one, was actually right in front of me, and I was in the front row, and people said it looked like a bit of a shimmy fluke. I'm telling you.
Yeah, he meant that.
Trossard turned his foot and lifted it up in the air. He changed his mind at the last second. It was really quick thinking. And he did that on purpose, It was a terrific goal. But there was the one goal that stands out at the fixture between the two for me. We played them in, I think it was around 2010, and we just couldn't break them down. I think they had a man sent off nearly. We just couldn't break them down. And in the 92nd minute, a cross came in, and who other than our samurai swordsman, Nicholas Bentner, rolled up and absolutely buried it with the head, and the stadium erupted because we were in contention. That was around March, and we were in contention at that stage, and very fond memories. And of course, the other, we played them in the FA Cup when we won the FA Cup in 1979. It was Wolves in the semi-final, and their former player who signed for us, Alan Sunderland, did them. He was a great player. He of all the players that play for the two clubs, he's the one that stands out for me, Alan Sunderland. He seemed to have an afro all the time. Not just when,
kind of like a Tony Woodcock. Do you remember that header here he used to have?
Yeah, but you see, there was a period of time when the afro hairstyle was actually, you went in and asked the hairdresser for one of them. Alan Sunderland had it all the time,
Where did it go wrong for you, Eamon, at that time?
I gave it to Alan Sunderland. I donated it to charity.
Yeah, it's making rave reviews there, right? And one memory that stands out for me was on the run to the 97-98 Cup final when Christopher Ray scored the one and only goal, and his son played it for Stamford as well. So that shows how the years are flying by when their kids are starting to line up for squads. But he was decent, Christopher Ray. It was short and brief, but he stood out in that 97-98.
No, Jonathan was crap.
Particularly put it this way, Eamon, he's no Ali Dia. He did a bit of a step up.
No, he's not Ali Dia. Do
you remember Ali Dia? What a player.
Southampton, he lasted about 4 minutes.
Ali Dia, in your opinion, in your expert opinion, Eamon, do you think he would have made our 5-a-side Emirates pitch? I don't think there would have been.
I don't think he'd have got the warm-up completed.
He wouldn't have been able to compete with Dennis Henry, that's for sure.
Remember the compulsory warm-up with the A&A department on the side of the pitch? I don't think he'd have completed that, Yeah.
I wanted to ask you for a score because we're Jonas and that, but I think hand on heart I'd go with it for an Arsenal win. But it's this time.
I think we can score against them, Jonathan.
Yeah, there's enough quality. Yeah, the way Trossard and Martinelli down the wings, you think you'd go killing because they're always prone to kind of a yellow red card, particularly Nelson Semedo. he can put his foot in. He's that type of player where he gets a bit bullheaded, but it's on Premier Sports and it's in the River Bar as well, where you can catch the action with all the crew from the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club. So there's going to be plenty of company, and I can go down memory lane with you from his memories of homes. Super having you on, Eamonn, as always, on the preview show. Thanks to everyone who listens to this as well and our review show. You can catch it on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel and on Spotify. But until our next preview show, thanks for listening, and see you again soon.
Come on, you Gunners.